Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Susan, I'm so glad you came to visit. It's been too long.
Isn't that the truth? This is the first time I've seen your new home at the Good Samaritan Society. I hope you're staying entertained now that life has slowed down.
Slowed down? I've been more active here than I've been in years. Come on now. We're late for aerobics class.
Aerobics? I thought we were having coffee.
That's after aerobics and cards with the girls. Oh, and I scheduled a hair appointment for us at 3 and dinner's at 5.
Betty, slow down. I don't know if I have the energy to do all this. I had no idea you were staying so active.
That's what I love about this place. I can be as active as I want to be, and that means I'm staying busy.
I can see that.
To learn how the Good Samaritan Society can help you enjoy life on your terms, visit us today at good-sam.com or call 855-GOOD-SAM. That's good-sam.com or call 855-GOOD-SAM.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer, so let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
It is one of my closest friends, heroes, mentors. Why don't I have headphones?
You want mine?
No.
That's my name.
And the funniest. I mean, beyond.
Well, I don't know about
Oh, shut
that.
the fuck up. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Susie Essman! And how many people have been writing, when are you going to have Susie Essman on?
So you have a good following?
Yeah.
Good.
Duh.
Tell your friends about it, guys.
Can you make money doing this?
No. So, I mean, you could if you were like Mark Maron, and then you had to pay to subscribe, and then right. What's the whole?
But he built that after a long time.
Sure, he did, yeah. And like people like Keith and the girl, they have a subscription thing too. But they also release 10 episodes to listen to for free, or I think 30 now.
But now Hennessy. So nobody calls you Lauren. It has to be Hennessy?
Oh, people call me Lauren, but I got a lot of other friends named Lauren, so my friends started calling me Hennessy. Also, for some reason, it's easier in people's head to get the male pronoun thing if they call me Hennessy.
So you
not
only
Lauren.
want to be called he, not she.
I mean, that's correct, but I understand what I look like.
Right. You look like a girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty girl.
But hot and pretty. But in
You
your
tell all the
head,
boys.
I'm just trying to understand, but in your head, always you've been a boy since you were a little kid.
And not in my head. I didn't know I wasn't a boy until someone told me that I
see.
wasn't, pretty much. So I didn't develop the way a lot of us develop as our gender. A lot of us get stuck in the middle, and those are called intersexed. And they're, peepees don't match everyone else's. And a lot of us either transition full into male when we're girls, or we stay female as we first start developing when we're boys.
So you don't consider yourself a lesbian?
No, I'm not a lesbian, although if you want to get technical about it, I am a homosexual because my sex, I happen to like girls. I don't identify as gay. I identify as straight. Uh-huh. Because I happen to like girls. I haven't liked guys yet, but
I happen to like New York. You know that song?
I happen to like girls.
So my sex is
vaginas.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I happen to like the vagina and the boobies.
Can I just make a
whatever you
suggestion?
want, Susie.
Don't get the surgery.
Oh, God. Will you be on my podcast when I have it?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't think so either.
Really?
Yeah.
I
you
think
go back and forth. Extreme.
Well, because I only go back and forth because I know you're just doing it because of other people.
But
not
that's why
because of
everybody
yourself.
Hennessy. But the other thing
No,
is,
everybody does it to be identified as who they are.
yes, but if you know who
please.
you are, what difference does
it
it
doesn't
make?
matter.
And a
The
penis
people-
does not make a man.
I know that. Because
You know?
I don't have one.
Oh, man, baby.
Yeah.
I say that
man,
all
a
the time.
penis doesn't make a
I know many a man with a penis who's not a man.
So that's the thing. Do I live with this knowledge? This is where I'm grappling, okay? Do I live with this knowledge of a penis does not make a man? I am who I am. Some boys are born looking like this and looking like you guys, and some girls are born looking like Seth, you know? But then I live my life being...
You're a girl born looking like Seth.
Yeah, I know. So if I am to choose to live in this body, I am choosing to live misidentified for the rest of my life. So it's more of a personal comfort thing.
Correct. However,
And
are you
also-
misidentified? This is an issue that I think is really interesting. Are you misidentified, or is this who you are?
I am
Which is-
misidentified in the same way women are misidentified just because of the way they look, probably. You know what I mean?
Right, but,
so
but
I
my
identify
point is,
with women
my
a lot.
point is, you're not really misidentified. This is who you are. You have female genitalia, right?
Yeah, that I have no connection to whatsoever.
Right, but you're this person.
Yes,
so
exactly.
that's who you
This
are.
is my body. This is
Right,
my
exactly,
male body.
exactly.
But in order for me to live comfortably as myself, as a dude, as myself, okay, in my own skin, I would have to transition in some sort of way that I could pass as who I am. I mean, it's a daily question of whether or not to use the girls' restroom or the men's restroom.
Right, right,
It's not
right,
me
right.
who's gendering everything
No,
in
no,
this
I understand.
world.
I understand.
It's everyone else.
I
you know?
understand. It's
So
changing
do I
a little
live
bit, but yeah.
a little.
Yeah.
Do I live comfortably? Because this will not change in my lifetime.
Could you
People will
imagine if
not
she was also a
recognize me.
Jew?
Hey,
I
Hey.
am. I just got my DNA test back.
30%, not that much.
Everyone hates us.
Not that much. You can't say
Why
it.
does everybody want to be a part of our
I know.
tribe that everybody hates?
I love you.
First of all,
I look at who I'm sitting in the between. This
can
is
I
like
just
a wet
say
dream.
something?
Yes, darling.
You know, Bernie Sanders is a very nice man.
Yes.
Okay. The fact that America, and there are numerous anti-Semites in America,
Yes.
would pick a socialist Jew over a woman who is overly prepared for this job
And a Methodist.
and a Methodist and who is the most qualified in over 100 years. You don't have to have dinner with her. You can think she's witchy or bitchy.
But she's the most qualified of all the candidates.
Right.
That's obvious.
But
That's
the
obvious.
fact...
Well, but the interesting thing is, my housekeeper upstate, who's an evangelical, by the way,
Right.
and has a very hard time understanding that Jimmy and I are such nice people because we're not religious at all.
Right, right.
She doesn't get how we could be so kind and generous and nice and treat her so well when because I'm an atheist. I'm not
Right.
religious at all. She doesn't understand that we all have a moral compass in
Right.
our DNA. But her daughter, who has never voted, who's probably in her early 30s,
Oh, that's terrible.
never voted, never been political, all of a sudden is excited about Bernie Sanders. He's touching something in this young demographic that's really, really interesting.
Right.
They don't get the feminist side. They don't get what we had to go through
Right.
and what Hillary had to go through and what Madeleine Albright and Gloria had to
Right,
go
right,
through.
of course.
It's lost on them. And I understand that. Just in the way that we don't get the full anti-Semitism that our parents had to deal
Right.
with because of assimilation.
But do you think that, because I believe in 10 or 15 years, those women will understand?
Yes, they will.
Because they have not
Absolutely.
lived in this.
And the sexism is still existing and it's still rampant.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why often I compare the trans and female movement.
My only objection to the trans thing, though, is it's dangerous. Operations are dangerous.
Amen.
Shit can go wrong. Even taking hormones can really
it's
screw
very-
you up
it's very bad.
emotionally.
Yeah.
or level you out.
It can level you out, but it's just. I just think that there's too much risk involved that
There's
worries
a lot of
me.
risk involved. I mean, but however, people get operations to change their look all the time just because
understand.
they want to feel better about themselves.
But if you can feel good about yourself and not do it, I would go that direction.
Well, I'm not there.
Okay.
I haven't been there for 31 years.
Then
Well,
do what
then-
you need to do.
Yeah.
I don't know though, man. It's like this.
Oh, my God.
Don't do it lightly.
No shit. And this is conversations like this and being able to identify with women and as a woman as this with this experience is
I mean,
very
you do
powerful and
have,
special to me.
You know
You do
what?
have the best of both worlds here.
Yeah, and one of the things,
And the
I
worst.
think this is a very valid argument about men transitioning to women, and it's what Judy and I are talking about.
You're
They
taking a
don't
step
get.
down.
No, that's not that. They don't get that they have been empowered as men for all these
Like
years.
that fucking Caitlyn.
Yeah,
A lot of them
exactly.
do get it.
Right,
A
you-
lot of them do get it. Caitlyn doesn't because she's been in a bubble.
Well, yes.
No, but there are a lot. Even
He
what's
doesn't
his-
know what it would have been like if he was a female athlete in the Olympics all those years.
Right.
And
Also,
No, she doesn't.
Katie Tour. Do you know Katie Tour is? Yeah, Katie Tour, who is a on MSNBC. She's following. I think she.
yeah.
So her father, and mother were both journalists. They were the ones who found OJ's car in a helicopter, and they.
Have
did
you been
all the-
watching that show, by the way?
No, is it good?
It's really good.
I got to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. So he transitioned to a woman, and he was like, and his
She did. I'm just saying
Well-
she because that's the correct pronoun.
Okay.
she transitioned. The father
Right.
transitioned and is now a female. And her stance on political, like, women can't, like, she thinks women shouldn't have to, they can't make these snap decisions and, these.
I don't understand what you're saying, darling.
She was a pilot and was very
Oh,
butch.
okay, yeah.
She says
That
you know,
women aren't capable
think
of that? Mhm.
completely differently. They think better. They think about consequences. So in those sort of
I agree.
Well, here's my take on that. My take on that is, yes, I do believe women and men have different brains.
Yes, and
I think we
that's what I
function
don't have.
differently.
I don't have the good part of being a chick, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's in the DNA from hunter-gatherer.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
the man was the hunt. Judy, put that the fuck
Women
down.
I
was
want to
the
read
hunt.
something to you.
Okay. The man was
my
hunt,
God.
focus, one thing. Get the elk or whatever the hell it was. The women, they're gathering. They got the baby on the hip, the baby on
Right.
the breast, the other toddler running around. They're taking berries, having conversation with their friends. They're multitasking. It's in the DNA.
Women have been forced to evolve. They've been forced to evolve,
Correct.
and I think that they have evolved past men.
Whereas men are simple. Women are complex.
Okay, so there you go. So you take that male brain.
All right. I can
Put it in
hear.
me.
I'm going to say I was always a boy. Like, I never wanted to do girl things.
No,
I
but you
ju-
have a woman's brain.
You
Right.
do.
You do.
And I have to say, like, I never wanted to play with dolls. I never.
But you know
Little
what, Judy?
tomboy.
Part of that. Now, I was always a girly girl,
Right.
and I never wanted to play house and all that crap and
Right.
wedding. Not because I wanted to be a boy, but because it was like, ugh, it looked horrible to me. I want a marriage like my mother and father.
Right.
You know what I really hated? And also I was playing. I had a little reel-to-reel tape recorder. I was playing Johnny Carson.
Right.
But I'm the talk show
Right.
host. So it wasn't just boy girl.
Mm-hmm.
It was married mother as
Sure.
opposed to career life.
But your mother was,
She worked part-time. She wasn't. She never actualized herself.
My mother never actualized
I used to
herself
hate
either.
when I was a kid.
No.
I used to watch
our
I Love
generation.
Lucy, and I fucking hated it because it would annoy me so much that Lucy would have to ask Ricky to buy a hat.
right.
You know, it's like, go buy your own fucking hat.
Right.
What do you have to go through a whole machination for an entire episode because you
always-
want a
right,
friggin'
and
hat?
I was like, why does my brother get to mow the lawn? I want to fucking mow the lawn.
Right.
I want to fucking shovel the snow. I want to play I want to do what boys do. But then when I was pregnant and breastfeeding, when I became a mother, the only time my hormones, and I've ever felt like a normal person where people are normal and they're not anxious, was when I was pregnant and breastfeeding.
That's interesting because that's hormonal.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So maybe you should be taking the pill.
Estrogen.
I do.
Okay.
So,
But I don't think that, but again, I don't think the normal, not normal, I don't want to use the word abnormal, has to do with your gender or your sexuality. I think
No.
it has to do with comic brain. Because I don't know any comic that I know that ever felt normal. We're all
Right.
misfits.
Yeah. You're all mentally ill.
We're all,
we are a
we're
little.
all, we all see things in some skewed, weird fucking
Right.
way.
That's
why
what
we
I
love
try to
you.
tell people. It's like I can say things to another comic that I could never.
Well,
I mean, even after the most disastrous, horrible event in history,
Yeah.
you think of a joke.
yeah. Yeah, of course.
And then it's too soon, and it's too this and this.
The death,
Right.
the whatever.
So, but you grew up in a very, they're intellectuals, your parents.
Yeah.
Your father was an oncologist.
Right.
Your mother taught Russian.
Right.
Zora.
Yeah.
And all of your siblings are successful.
Yeah.
And and
how do we define success?
well, they are they're not in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
And you became a stand-up
Right.
later. Like you started in your late 20s, early
28.
30s.
I started 28.
Which is kind of
But I was lost before that. I
Right.
wasn't doing anything. I was
Right.
a waitress. I was a drug dealer.
Right. You were?
Yeah. I
What?
was a coke dealer in
You
pot.
were?
Coke in the pot. Yeah.
Did you do the coke?
No. Which is one of the reasons why I became the dealer. My boyfriend was the dealer,
Right.
but he couldn't handle it,
Right.
Because he would do it, and I hated it because
Right.
I don't need something to make me anxious.
Right.
I do a very good job by
Right.
myself. I like a more tranquilizing.
Right, exactly.
Drug.
Like the pot.
Yeah, but but that's what I had. He set me up it's like setting the wifey up in business. He set me up in business.
Nice.
But it was the 80s. It was different.
Did you?
then.
Did
there
your
was
parents?
money.
Yeah.
Did your parents know?
No, of course not.
What'd you tell them?
Well, I was waitressing also.
Oh, all right.
you know.
Susie's making a lot of money waitressing.
I wasn't like a big drug dealer.
Right,
It was,
right,
you know,
right.
it's just like enough money to go out to eat,
Right.
take cabs.
Right.
A few
You
of your
know.
friends knew.
So
Yeah. And it was just I didn't. It's like I wasn't a street dealer. I had my clients, like
Right.
Wall Street guys.
Right, right.
You know, and here I was cute in those days.
Right.
You know,
You
so
still are very
no, but
cute.
I
You're a
was
cutie.
20, 4, 5,
Right.
and I was.
where were you living?
I was living on the Upper West Side.
I know you.
Yeah.
You're like me with the Upper West Side.
I've been living on the Upper West Side since 1980.
Oh,
and when
84 for me.
when I lived,
Yeah.
because you're younger than me, when I first moved in, it was
it was
dangerous
terrible.
because I lived on Amsterdam and 73rd, and that was Needle Park.
Yeah.
You know, and you couldn't walk up Amsterdam in those days. It
I
was
was
so
on Amsterdam in 81st.
It was so dark.
I know.
It was so dark, and I liked it though. I kind of liked those days when it was
Right.
dark and dirty.
But the greatest thing about those days, Upper West Side was all artists, writers,
Right.
intellectuals that could afford apartments.
Correct.
Who could live there? Who could
I had
go-
a 4th floor walk up on West 73rd Street, $300 a month.
Nice.
What?
Yeah.
I shared a basement of a brownstone with an opera singer,
Oh no.
Sam Bird, and he used to go on the road all the time, and he had a baby grand piano. Anyway,
Would you warm up with him on the piano? Would he
No.
do warm ups with you?
and he was always gone. I loved it, but $800 or $700 or $600. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I had my own room. I had a backyard.
Yeah.
His cat used to give me pigeons.
I'm in the Fabletics VIP program. I just spent my first month there, got my first outfit. They just sent me an email showing me all the new stuff they got in. I'm really, really stoked about it. I can't wait to wear it out, man. It's starting to get warm outside. I'm really excited for spring. The Under Armour they sent me helped me get through the rest of the winter on my bike. This stuff is top quality, stylish activewear for every woman. And you gotta check out their FL2 site, which is on fabletics.com/Judy, and that is their men's site, which is what I've been going to. It's same great quality as your favorite luxury brands at half the price, at least half the price. It's workout gear for women, men on the go, exclusive styles, outfits released monthly. It's quick and easy, and you'll get a complete outfit for just $25 with free shipping and exchanges. There's really nothing to lose. Try it just for the outfit, at least once, 1 month. You'll love it.
I can't believe how inexpensive and how cool looking the stuff is.
I know.
Like some of the stuff I was like, oh, I could just wear that as a shirt.
Hey, Kate Hudson. She's
I know, she's so
awesome.
cool. I love her. I love her mother.
Oh, I love her mother.
I know, Private Benjamin.
God damn it, Overboard.
Okay, why can't I just have a movie with a Jew?
Oh, you can.
All right.
Okay.
She was really good in Private Benjamin. All right, go.
Fabletics.com/Judy.
I was actually walking up that block the other day, and it used to be P&G's bar was on the corner,
Right,
and then
right.
Vinny's Pizza,
Right.
and now it's like some the cupcake store. What the fuck with the cupcake store? There's all
What
these
about the
stores
Baked
with
by Melissa?
cupcakes.
The Baked by Melissa,
With
and
the
they're
little
fucking they're the size of a
macaroon.
dime, and
I
people are
know.
like, "We're gonna get baked." I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm
Get
gonna
an
bring
Entenmann's.
them to the next recording, and you will see.
What?
Baked by Melissa.
No, I've
I
had
don't
baked
care.
by Melissa. Just,
I don't care.
I need
Hennessy.
a portion.
So, but there's no now. There's like Salameria, Rossi.
Yeah.
It's all like such high end.
I know.
And all the mom and pops are gone.
It's awful.
It's very disturbing.
It's really horrible. Thank God for Peter's Pharmacy. I literally, he's on the corner, Peter.
Oh, I know that is yes.
Yeah, and so like
By you.
Yeah, and I call him, and if I'm going on the road, he's like, here, I'll give you like, whatever you need for your
Right,
trip.
right.
But literally, I call, I go, hi, I want to refill a prescription. They're like, hi, Judy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't ever get like
No,
good drugs.
but it's like,
But okay, but now here's another issue apropos of what we're talking about. We're talking about a certain feeling of when it was better in those days, in a sense, even though that's when HIV first
Right,
hit,
it was awful.
and that's when it was
Right.
the crack epidemic, and also this whole idea of the good old days. It was never the good old days if you were a woman. It's so much better
Right.
now if you're a female,
Right.
than it was in the good old days.
Right.
Unless you were a white guy.
right, white guys.
Which is why they're so angry now,
Right.
which is why they're so
Oh, yeah.
fucking angry now.
Yeah, because we're waking up and power
Well,
is being taken
nobody
away.
ever wants
supposedly.
to, nobody ever gives up power readily or happily.
Right.
This illusion of power is such a lie, though.
Well, no, it's not, Hennessy. They ruled the world for thousands and thousands
Right.
of years.
Yes.
I understand that. And they still do.
You're talking a lot. Go.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying we're waking up to this power is actually an illusion, and it's time to.
This is
disperse
what
it
we're
and
talking
take it
about.
back.
When you say something, we can't go into Hennessy land. Go.
Well,
Sorry,
there was an
boss.
interesting article yesterday in the Times about why this group of men is so feeling like their lives are out of control.
Right.
And part of it is that this whole idea that your life is not as good as your parents' life, whereas blacks and Hispanics don't feel that way because
Right.
their lives are actually better
Better.
in a lot of ways than their parents' lives were. Whereas these uneducated white guys, their lives are not as good as
Right.
their parents were.
But also, and women are in much better situations.
Much better. Much
Now,
better.
You started doing stand up at. And by the way, when you were talking about how we sort of make the old days seem like they were the great. I remember walking to the Improv on 44th and 9th. I get off the subway at 42nd. It was like,
Oh, God.
it was awful.
It was horrible. You were scared for your life.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just on the needles. I'd
Yeah,
walk over
yeah,
a needle
yeah.
and just to do a spot at the
Yeah.
fucking,
Yeah.
the Improv. But
I never worked there
Mm-hmm.
because the first time I ever went in there, Silver was so
Silver
nasty to
ran
me.
it, yeah.
And it so disturbed me that it's the special place in hell that Madeleine Albright is talking
Right,
about.
right.
That women not supporting women is a horrible thing.
right. It happens a lot in this
I know.
business too.
Yep. Yes, and men need to start supporting women.
Well, Louis does.
A lot of men.
and Larry.
You know what?
Yeah, there's a
love him.
lot.
Yeah.
I always found, and I know you'll agree with this, the good guys were always supporting women.
Right.
It was the mediocrities that were so
Right,
threatened by
right,
us.
right. Who
Wow.
didn't
The
want
The
to
ones who
follow
were
us.
talented,
Yeah.
they never had a problem with
Right.
us.
They were secure.
Yeah, they were good. They and they appreciated talent.
Right.
You know?
But I just wrote
We're not
something
gonna
on a
go
piece
there.
of paper about someone, and
We're not going to go there.
But
Inside jokes,
when
you
I
guys aren't
started
invited.
doing stand up,
Yeah.
I started first when I was 19. I was in college, and I did a show with Larry Amoros, Bill Sheft, and Adrian Tolsch at Rutgers,
Right.
and I killed.
Right.
And Adrian was like, "Come to Catch a Rising Star on a Monday night."
See, she was one of the women that was not supportive of me at all.
And I went in.
Yeah.
I'd go every Monday. I'm like 18, 19 years old.
Right.
And of course, I didn't realize I'd be standing there till 3 a.m.
Right.
And then go home.
Well, what was even worse, and I was talking about this because you and I did a documentary, or interview for a documentary about the Comedy Cellar.
Right.
I remember I had to go into the Comedy Cellar in the afternoon
Right.
When it was empty.
Yes.
And auditioned for
Right.
Bill Grunfest, who never liked me, never
Right.
passed me. And in an empty room
Right.
in the middle of the afternoon, you have to
Right.
get up on the stage and do your act for this one guy who's then going to say, okay, you could now put in your availability.
Right,
Not you.
but
Not
I'm
you
not
have
gonna
spots.
assure you
You
a
have
spot.
You could put in your availability. It was really, really hard to
I
get
remember
stage
that.
time. Oh, it was brutal.
I remember that when
was
you had to go
horrible.
sign up in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was
that's-
horrible.
That's hell.
It was hell. It was hell. And I mean, how funny are you standing up in front of one person in
the
an empty
afternoon.
room in the afternoon?
Yeah, that I forgot it. See, I blocked a lot of shit out of my head.
Wow.
And it was, and when women there was room for one woman.
Right.
And so they made us compete against one another.
Right.
And it was so unfair. And then you see these guys that one of them gets something, they bring them all along.
Yeah.
Patow.
Yeah.
He
But
does with the women too.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Wait, I really want to tell those people to shut up.
I'll tell him.
Yeah, because they're so effing annoying.
you go, boy.
Come on, sir. Yeah, I just.
It was hard though, Judy. It was hard.
It was really hard.
For 2 years they wouldn't pass me at Catch either.
Are you kidding?
Oh, wouldn't pass me. Wouldn't pass me.
What? Thank God for the comic strip.
Well, Lucian was always good to me.
Right, same.
One of the strangest men
He
ever
was.
to exist.
So Lucian ran the comic strip, but he would put women on.
He would put women on, and he would protect women in the sense
Right.
that he would give us protected spots.
Right.
He was very chivalrous in
Right,
that way. He
yes.
was a gentleman.
Then there was Comedy U Grand.
Yes, and
55
they were
Grand Street.
fantastic. They were fantastic
Is
to
Bert
women.
alive?
I believe so.
Okay.
Bert and Paul were fantastic to
To
women.
women. And then Thursday night was all women night.
All women night, but they would also put women back to back. You know
Oh,
how
yeah.
it used to be. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I'm telling the audience.
Right.
There would be a lineup, and there would be maybe 15 comics on a weeknight.
Right.
And it would be boy, and they'd put one. There'd be the woman
One,
slot.
right.
One woman. They wouldn't have two women in a row because they were afraid we were both going to talk about our periods.
Right,
or something,
right.
You know, and that was. But they had no problem putting boy in a row.
Right. It was always 3 guys is a show, and
Yeah.
3 women is a special
It's
event.
a special women's
Right.
night. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That still happens.
It does.
It does. And so I won't do any shows where they're like, we're doing a ladies
Yeah,
show
yeah.
called, Her Hysterical, and I won't do it. I can't.
Really? So if people ask me sometimes, like, hey, can Judy do this all women's show? Are you like against it?
I'm against it if it has a hoary name.
Right.
If, like I do the Ms. benefit, like.
Well, I was just going to say, if it's a benefit, it's a
Right.
different thing.
Right. But yeah, and someone asked me to do, I forgot what and it was a take on the word whore or something.
Oh, or yeah,
And I
like
was like,
pussy
no.
party.
Yeah, I
50.
can't.
Yeah.
So you start doing stand up.
Right.
28 years old, you're still waitressing.
Right.
Where do you go first? And what made you do it? What made you get on stage that first time?
I was incredibly unhappy. I was in a very, very deep, dark place, and I took a class. I was in a bad relationship. I was in a very bad place. I took a class, and I was so scared in the class. It was a stand-up class at a place called Manhattan Punchline, I think.
Oh,
is the name of it.
yeah, I remember that.
So the class was, they would give assignments. Come in next week and do 5 minutes about your dog or whatever the
right.
fuck it was. I was so scared that I would not show up the next day.
No way.
Yeah, I was so scared. So there was this guy in class. We went out after class one night, and he was like, well, what do you like to do? And I said, well, I do these characters, which I used to do.
Right.
And
I
he said,
love-
well, how about next week in class if I just interview your different characters? So I was like, okay, I could do that, in improv and
Right,
just
right,
whatever,
right.
because I would just become them in this certain way and without even thinking about it. And we did that, and I was getting these laughs.
Right.
And then they all knew about these open mics, and there was this place on Carmine Street called Mostly Magic that was open mic on Tuesday nights.
Yes.
So I put together 5 minutes of just these characters. I never spoke in my own voice. Got a number, you just have to get a
Right,
number
yeah,
and wait
yeah.
online. I went on. I killed.
Right.
Paul Herzik and Bert Levitt were there.
Who owned Comedy U Grand.
But they hadn't opened it yet.
Yeah.
And they came up to me afterwards and they said, "We thought you were really, really great. We're opening up a club. Would you come work for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I gave them my number. Never thought I'd hear anything. Months go by. I never got on stage again because I was so petrified.
Oh, my God.
Months go by. They call me. "Can you come down on a Sunday night and do 10 minutes?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Like an idiot. I didn't have 10 minutes.
Right.
And I thought, oh, 10 minutes. What's 10 minutes?
Right.
Good
Because, you're
job.
stupid.
Right.
10 minutes is like 10 years.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I go, I write some more characters. I do it. Fantastic. Can you come back on Thursday night? It's all women. Yeah, okay. I go back on the Thursday night. There's all these comedians there that, now we know who they are, but I didn't know who any of them were. And I was so intimidated by them. Everything about them. They all seemed to know each other.
Right.
How they dressed, how
Clicky,
they clicky.
yeah.
Beverly Mickens was the
Oh,
MC.
right, I
and she's
remember her.
bringing everybody up. And she's like, "This is my really good friend. Let me introduce my really good friend."
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And like, I was so intimidated by all these girls. I remember who was there.
Who?
Leah Krinsky.
Oh, yeah.
Angela Scott.
Yes.
Beverly Mickens. Vanda Michaels. Margaret Smith.
Yes.
I remember it. It's so vivid to me. This is 1983.
Right.
So we're talking 33 years ago.
Right.
She brings me on, and I killed.
Right.
I then went
Were you
into.
so fucking scared?
I was so scared, and I then went into an even deeper depression
Right.
because I was so not allowed to be this person that I was becoming.
Right.
Oh my God.
I was so not allowed to have a voice from my mother, not allowed
Oh,
to
of
have
course.
a voice,
Yeah.
to have this, to get the attention. I was never allowed to get attention.
Right.
It was always stop showing off,
Right.
be quiet. There was never,
Right.
I see how parents are, how I am with my kids. I see how parents are with their kids that like, "You're so funny, you're so fat." I
Right.
never got any of that.
Oh,
I got
join the
shut up,
club!
so I then went into an even deeper depression.
It's
So
like
do
you
you
were
think
gay.
the deeper depression was guilt?
It was guilt, and it was also that
Shame? No.
not shame. Yes, shame, but it was more, I'm a horrible person. I
Right.
don't deserve to live.
Right.
I went into such a state of despair, and I had just started my therapy at the same time, my analysis, and I went into such a deep state of despair that I would.
Are you 29? How old
I was
are you?
28.
Oh, still.
That
okay.
I woke up every morning, and all I thought about was suicide.
Right.
This success at stand-up threw me into a suicidal spiral.
Right.
Which I finally acted on, not successfully, as we
Thank
know.
God, because
My parents came and picked me up. I went to their house because I was in a very bad state.
did you call them?
Yeah, my friend Jane called them, and
Okay.
because I took all these pills, and
Right.
then whatever. She came over, I pumped my stomach, whatever. And then what was interesting is my mother was treating me in a way that she had never treated me. She always treated me like an adversary,
Right.
And all of a sudden, she was treating me motherly and
Right.
kindly.
Oh,
Right.
my God.
And
What
it's
a
like,
mind fuck.
well, it's so sad that I had to
took
try
that.
to kill myself to
Yes.
get her to treat
Do
me this
you-
way. And I remember saying to her, "Ma, you're treating me lovingly for the first time.
Right.
Why?" And she said, "Well, because you need me. You never needed me before," which is,
What
of
the
course,
fuck?
bullshit. How does a
Right.
kid not need the
Right.
But anyway, while I'm at my parents' house recovering, Bert Levitt calls. "We want to give you a weekend spot." And they all told me, "You wouldn't get a weekend spot or get paid for
Right.
2 years."
Right.
So I said yes.
Wow, good
And
for you,
I said, "But
man.
you need to, I'm going to be out of town for a couple of weeks." I waited a couple of weeks. I went to my shrink every day. I got myself, and then I started, all of a sudden, this was like in November 1983, I started getting the weekend spots. I still have framed that first $20
Oh, God,
I ever made.
that's so great.
And I was, it's almost like I died and was resurrected a comedian.
Do
And
you
then I
think-
threw myself
Yes.
into my stand-up.
Right.
And never thought of killing myself again.
Were you extremely close to your father? Or did he pay a lot of attention to you?
No.
See, I would think that the reason your mother treated you as an adversary was because
I was my father's favorite.
Right.
But he never paid attention to anybody. He had a narcissistic disorder.
Right.
I had 2 narcissists
Right.
raising me, you know.
Right.
That would be like being raised by Donald and Ted Cruz. The narcissism in this election is fascinating to watch.
Beyond. But so you were I was my father's favorite.
I was his favorite,
too.
yes. And my mother did not like that at all.
Of course. That's why she
did not like that at all. But I can't imagine that, to me, that's so foreign.
I know, now that you have children.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting because of all the negative crap I dealt with. I love you every 5 minutes. I love you. You're so proud of you. Everything you do is great. I am constantly
that's how
building
I
them.
parent. I parent, which
Right.
is what would Zora do, and then I do the opposite. That's my parenting technique.
What would Zora do?
Yeah.
But do you think it affected your siblings?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. In my older siblings, in a more negative way than
Right.
me, in the sense because they just shut down.
Right.
They just shut down. I was a different personality. And also, when you're, I was the baby until my little sister was born, so until I was 9.5. And you kind of get lost a little bit
Right.
sometimes when you're the younger one.
Right.
The focus was on them.
I'm the
So I
youngest,
was just
yeah.
gone. I just was with my friends. I was out, and, I'd
Right.
come home after school, go out and play. And I was just, nobody really, I was benign neglect. Nobody really paid attention to me.
So you start getting these weekend spots,
Mm-hmm.
and working.
Yeah. And as you
Regularly.
know, the only way to get good is stage time.
Right. And
For the first 6 months, all I did was work at Comedy U. I didn't work anywhere else.
oh, really?
Yeah, I just worked there. I was too scared to go uptown to
Right.
the Uptown Clubs to audition. This whole idea. See, if I don't know, truthfully, if Paul and Bert had not been there that night, this is the Beshert part.
Right.
If I would have become a comic.
Right.
Because I don't know if I could have taken that thing of standing online. You used to have to stand online,
know.
get a number, go
You know
audition.
what? I can't believe that I fucking forgot that.
Yeah.
That I did that.
It was humiliating.
It was humiliating.
Yeah.
It was.
Do you think you forgot it on purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I do that.
She
a
blocked
lot.
it.
I
fair.
think I forget a lot of road story.
Horrors.
Um.
And
so-
then I realized, after about 6 months, I realized, you know what? If I want to have a career, I need to expand out of this little safe little environment.
Right.
It was on 13th Street University. You got all these NYU students and all these gay guys. That was
Right.
your audience. It was fantastic.
No, they moved to 55 Grand Street
That was later.
in Soho.
That
That's
was
the
later.
only one I know.
Oh, okay.
So here you are, you're doing stand up. And I remember when I was very young and I'd come watch that you did your characters, but you personalized it so that it wasn't like, here's my character. It was very organic. The way
Right.
you,
I'd weave.
right, you'd weave and you'd say, oh, my my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend.
Right.
Can
But
you
the
do
president of the Menudo fan club?
Yeah,
That one?
can you do it, please?
Haven't
With the
done it,
answering
so-
machine.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh,
Don't
that he
ask me
kept
to do
calling,
bits.
and then he'd play the message
Yeah.
over. What was it? Oh, fuck.
Forget it. I don't want to
Oh,
do
my
material.
God, it was so funny. Hi. Oh, no, you had a boyfriend.
Right,
And
right.
you were obsessed with him, and he kept calling. And
I would try to analyze every nuance
Every
of what he
nuance,
felt about
and
me.
it-
I'd listen to the messages over and over
Right.
again, And he would leave messages like this. He was like, "Hello, sir. This is Joey. I hate this freaking answering machine. I'll call you later, all right?" And he'd hang up. And then I would listen to it over and over and over.
And she'd do it.
I would
She'd
just do
on
it over
stage.
and over and
Hey,
over.
Susie, this is Joey. she would keep
The repetition compulsion. It's interesting because you know who I learned that from?
Who?
Was Gilbert. The repeating,
yeah.
constant repeating, and how hilarious
It
it
is,
gets
right.
when you're constantly repeating to a point where you want to kill him.
Right,
you
right,
know?
right. Your characters were
I never do them anymore.
oh so
Except
fucking
Judy.
funny.
I did Judy.
Yeah, and then give her the receipt. She can return it. There were so many, and then the Menudo
You know what
fan
happened
club?
when I was? This is still when I was at Comedy U. I would do these characters, and then I started realizing, okay, I have to find a voice of my own.
Right.
I never spoke in my own voice. So I said to Bert one day, I said, "Can I MC?" Because I thought that would help me. He's like, "You can't MC. You don't.
Right.
You only do characters." I said, "Well, let me just try."
Right.
Good
So
for
I went
you.
out there, and
Goddamn.
it was a very safe environment
Yeah.
there. I went out, and I would be like, I say to a guy, like, where are you from? And he would say Texas, and I'd be like, oh. And And it's funny because, as you know, I think that what I'm known for is working them. It didn't come naturally to me. It was something I had to learn.
I had the same experience because I started doing stand-up in the clubs, and for the first year, I would not talk to everyone was like, Judy, you're really funny. You should talk. And I said...
You would just do your material.
Right. I want to MC. And and you know the other reason I wanted to MC? I got more stage time.
Right.
I was in one place all night, and all my bits, when I did them, had to stand on their own.
Right, right. No, MCing was great practice.
So you start, then you pass at the comic strip?
Yes, Lucian passed me, yes. And they wouldn't pass me at Catch for 2 years.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love Mac Weldon. What's our code again? Oh, so if you go to Mac Weldon, you put discount code Kill Me,
20% off, which makes it like a billion times like cheaper than Banana Republic and all those other.
Such good quality.
It is really good quality.
I know. And Henry and Ben fight over the shirts.
They're so snug and nice. They just kind of like hug all around. You could definitely.
You know, it's nice to air out that area.
Definitely. Yeah. And they're nice and airy and breezy, supportive. I wear men's and women's underwear, and this
together?
Sometimes. When I'm feeling...
Oh, God. I have to go throw up. All right, go to Mac Weldon and use Kill Me. Did I start wearing men's underwear?
You definitely want to start wearing these men's underwear. You might have like a mini little pocket in the front, but that's okay.
What do you pocket for?
JudyGold.com/Mac.
So...
Finally, you know what happened? Finally, it was always a creative director, and then finally they brought Cynthia Cohen. And I said to Joy Behar, who's...
Well, that's what I wanted to get to,
I
how
said to
you met Joy.
I met Joy at Comedy U on the Thursday nights when I first started. But
so you had started, being friends with these... they accepted you into their little...
Yes.
Clique.
Well, she had just started also.
Right. Joy had just started. And what was the first... your first...
I remember seeing her backstage where she was with Steve, her now husband, and then I watched her on stage.
Can you explain that backstage is...
It was nothing. It was like a closet.
Right.
But I watched her on stage, and she was, very, very funny, because she is.
Right.
And then I talked to her off stage, and she was the same.
Right.
And I remember thinking, oh, I get it. I just have to be like how I am with my girlfriend sitting around my kitchen table.
Right.
Because that's how she was. She was the best at taking her real persona and just putting it on stage. And I was funny when I was with my friends.
Right.
But I had to just figure out how to have that.
Right.
It's not that easy to just get up there and be yourself.
Please.
Probably harder, right?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
is.
it's not now. I mean, now it's just so natural in a sense. But when you're first trying to find, I think the hardest thing about being a comic is finding your voice. I really do.
Oh, absolutely.
And then having a consistent voice. Once you get it, you never think about it anymore. It's not something I ever think about.
No, well, as you know, because you all make fun of me, I still go out 4 nights a week.
Right.
Because I love it.
But you don't think about your voice as a comedian. You don't. It's not something conscious finding your voice.
No.
Some people it is when they're doing like that character-y thing. But we were never like that.
There is a comic who we both know who does like his act as like a retarded person or
right.
And or a slow person. When I say retarded to all the lesbians, that I'm saying he acts like
A person who is
impaired-
retarded.
An impaired person.
an impaired person, but because his jokes wouldn't be funny,
right.
And now as he's aging,
It doesn't work.
it's
Strange.
like you're a fucking freak. I mean,
Yeah.
how long can you? All right, so you meet Joy.
Yes.
You are at Catch now. I remember going to Catch in college.
And let's just tell the audience, Catch a Rising
Star
does not exist anymore, but it was the premier club in
First
the 80s,
Avenue,
77th Street, and there would be lines around the block every night. It was the place where everyone in the industry went, where it was kind of famous. I remember being on stage. I look out, there's David Bowie.
Right.
There's,
and they had a band.
Right.
Lloyd, the bass player.
And Eddie Rabin. Tony the drummer.
Tony the drummer, and they would have sometimes they would even have a music act come on.
Yeah,
like,
frequently.
Catherine.
Yes, Catherine
who
Russell.
I see all
Yeah.
the time. She's
Brilliant singer.
Brilliant backs up for.
This was like the Apollo a little bit. For
yeah, but it wasn't a
comics.
theater.
It
It was
wasn't
a
a
club.
theater. It was a club. Absolutely. So here you are. You're at Catch at its heyday, or
Right.
the beginning of it. Richard, what's his name? Owned it.
Richard Fields, who
Yes.
bought it from Rick Newman.
He bought it from Rick
Newman.
Newman.
Founded it. Yeah.
Right. And so, oh God, I mean, I can imagine it so clearly in my head. Do you remember the doorman who died of AIDS? Oh, I loved him.
Tony.
So, Tony. I
Yeah,
visited
there
him
was
in the
several
hospital.
deaths. So did I. There was
Yeah.
several deaths in those days.
It
Those
was
were hard
awful,
days.
awful.
Yeah.
They were.
Tony
that was
was,
difficult.
and I just remember.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful boy.
So here you are, and you're emceeing. Now,
Right.
I recall when I started out, you and Joy had been doing it 2 or 3, 4 years or something,
Right.
and I would go everywhere. I would do street fairs. I would do everything.
Yeah,
And
you had to.
right. And you and Joy made me laugh more than anyone, and were my idols. And I would sit in the back. I remember I'd sit with
And look,
Eve.
now you're just as good as we are.
And I would sit with Eve because Eve was in high school.
Yeah,
and
Joy's daughter.
Yeah, and I was in my early 20s, so
Right.
she was closest to my age. I felt like such a dork. But
Yeah.
the thing that I remember about you, and I've said this to you often, was, I mean, and you did MC a lot, and you MC'd the weekend shows.
But you got $100.
Right. And I was the backup with Chris Rock,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
get
Chris
$50
Rock was
to
always
sit
the
there.
backup.
Yeah. No, and then I was.
You
when he
were,
got
I know.
famous. And Lewis would be like, "You're gonna get on. Don't worry, you're gonna get on." He was the bartender.
The
He now
backup.
runs
Let me just
Caroline.
explain. There was they on the weekends there was a set lineup, so they would always have a backup act sitting at the bar that you got $20, I think, right?
50.
Oh,
We
50
got the
bucks.
same as a spot.
That in case somebody didn't show up, they
because
had somebody
I've
go on.
explained this because we had no
Yep.
cell phones.
Right. No cell phones.
You didn't know how to get. There was no way to contact anyone if you were running late.
It was probably good to see all the comics go before you too, as a young
But
comic.
the thing about Susie was the way you walked on stage. Now I know because I know you that there was a bit of, you being a little frightened or not as you walked. I can see it to this day from that sound booth.
Yeah.
By the 2 chairs. Remember those 2 big chairs?
Yeah.
And you would walk on with such confidence and grab that mic and immediately not only disarmed them, but you made it like, don't fuck with me because I'm not.
Well, I had to.
Right.
Because
but
I
it
was
taught
small.
me. Right. You were
You
small.
know, and
But look, I'm 6'3".
I know.
And I was waiting for them to call me Bigfoot.
I was
so I had
also a
to- yeah,
woman.
right.
And also, even male comics go through this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's scary to walk up there. So I would go into a place,
Mm-hmm.
I would go into my performance head. And I knew the minute I grabbed that mic, you have to get them. An audience smells fear so quickly.
Immediately, yeah.
So quickly. And you have to take care of them.
Right.
You have to immediately be in charge so they could relax.
Right.
And when you're in charge, they're relaxed.
Right.
And then they'll laugh.
So you and
But that was something I learned. That was
well,
trial and
you
error.
taught me.
I
You
really
taught me.
always loved that too about your presence on stage. You just immediately make the
was-
audience feel comfortable and like they're in the
Yeah.
right place and you're in charge.
I learned that from just
and your notes.
my notes.
Like, because I have my little cards, but yours were always so fucking neat, and mine were like I had shit written all over, and I had coffee stains on them, and yours were always you had this, and you'd fold it up, and you'd open it, and it was the tiny little writing and perfect
That's
writing.
because I grew up in chaos.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, you and Joy. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Can I tell you what I learned from Joy? Because we brought this up.
yeah.
Having had a very competitive mother, Joy taught me do not compete with other women.
Right.
sisterhood is powerful. There's room for everybody. And it was a lesson I really had to learn, because when you have a competitive mother, that's
Right.
your default position. You know, you don't know anything else.
Plus, there's no spots for women.
Right.
You
and,
taught
and
me
there was
that,
a lot
too.
of women that were not particularly nice to me when I came up.
Right.
Wow.
And you were very helpful. I mean, I have to say.
It's because, Judy, you were always funny. I never had time for the non-funny ones.
Right. But you were, I mean, in my deepest, darkest crises and my depression and my, you have no idea how much you've helped me in my life.
Well, I'm happy that's the case.
Okay. So back to you. So Cynthia Coe
Yes.
is now Richard Fields, who's putting this club up his nose.
Right.
Hires this Cynthia Coe to run. Where is she?
She lives in Northern California somewhere.
You know, I love these people that had such power over my life.
And now
they're like, and
know.
I just, and you feel
It's
like
a lesson there.
But it's also a lesson, like, because when I did a comedy festival and in Boston a year ago, 2 years ago, and Eddie Brill, who had this article come out about how, because he had booked Letterman and hadn't had a woman on. And there were some people in the audience who had auditioned for him, women, who said, I auditioned for you and you told me I'm never going to be on TV, or I'm never, and I'm on this panel. I said, Eddie, you have a job. I'm sure it's coming from higher ups who's supposed to be on. I said, but you have to realize what you say to these comics is with them for the
Forever.
rest, you know? And
I
that
was never on Letterman.
Joy
was never on Letterman.
There's
You
no
should have
way.
been, yeah.
We have this. So Cynthia Coe takes over, and then
And I think it's important that it was a woman,
Right.
even though there have been men who've been very good to me in this
Right.
business, like Lucian,
Right.
like Rick Newman, like
Right.
people like that. But Cynthia
Breath.
took over, and I
Yeah.
remember I said to Joy, "I'm just going to pretend that I passed and not even go through this process," because I
Right.
was working all over by that time.
Right.
I was working down at Green Street.
everyone
every
knew
Saturday
you.
night.
Yes.
And I did. I just put my name in, and she, really liked me and started giving me spots and started letting me MC, which was the MCing put me into the next place creatively where I had
and
to
the
go.
other thing is when I would go when I was in college, Belzer was the MC,
right,
and he was the show.
Right,
People
right.
don't realize that originally the MC
at Catch, not every
at
club.
Catch was the show,
Right.
and it was so important. And you realize, like, people,
You're setting the tone,
right? And clubs don't realize we're going to
Yeah.
get our stupid little,
They make the least funny
Right.
the MC when it should be. See, I always thought when I was MCing that it would be like, all right, this is my party, and I'm bringing up my friends, my special guests.
Right. That's exactly, and you're all coming. Yeah, you then get cast as Sally Field's coach.
Oh yeah, in
Punchline.
right?
Which, to me, I mean, I already was like, oh my God, Susie Essman, But
it was a big deal at the time.
It was a very big deal. This
They
movie
flew me out to L.A.
Right.
I'm with Sally every day at her house and her Oscars.
Did you feel I don't deserve this at the time? Did you feel
No.
I'm lucky? Did you feel what did you feel? Because I would have been like, oh,
Who remembers?
Yeah.
It was kind of easy because I'm helping her. I had no risk factor. I'm not on camera. I was behind the scenes. After you do stand up, anything's easy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Amen.
So I was like really excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on a movie set every day. And,
It was a big fucking deal.
yeah, it was a big deal. But they had cast all these comics in the movie.
Right. Max,
I wasn't
yeah.
one of them.
Right. But everyone knew you were the prototype for Sally Field. And she had seen you, right?
Right.
Who picked
yeah,
you?
She
picked
did.
you.
Yeah, she did.
That's pretty
Are you still in
incredible.
touch with her?
No, but I saw her recently. I
Right.
have a nice relationship with her. But, there's so many things that happen. I mean, I don't have to tell you, Judy. I mean, I remember at one point in the mid-'90s, this was 1986 that happened.
Yes.
And I remember one point in the mid-'90s just feeling like how much funnier do I have to be? I don't even know. I can't. How much?
Oh, please.
Kill.
Every
And
night
nothing's
to
happening.
the point where people wouldn't want to follow you.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing's happening.
Right.
I'm not making enough money.
Right. I remember I did VH1 Stand Up Spotlight, and Ray Romano didn't want to follow me,
Right.
and they had to move me.
Right. Right. And I don't
it
blame
was
them.
like, and I was like, well, if
But
I'm
nothing
good
happened.
enough,
But nothing happened. But nothing. You know.
Right.
I mean, but this happened, and that I'm
But-
not complaining about my career. I've had an amazing career.
Right.
But it's
No, I
nowhere
remember-
big as other people's
Oh,
careers.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you then you get stuff. You are very popular. You have a boyfriend. It's not a great relationship.
Right.
You're living across the street from Stand Up New York.
Oh, that was later. That was in 1989. I moved there.
Right. And I used to.
Oh, and then I got the Women of the Night on
That's
HBO.
right. You got HBO half hour Women of the Night, which
Right.
was the one place HBO would put women on
Right.
a show
it was
about.
it was 5 women.
It was Paula.
It was me, Joy, Liz Winstead, Diane Ford, and this other girl that
It wasn't-
Carla somebody that I forgot her last name.
Okay. And you do that.
Right.
Which was fantastic.
Yeah. But you only had to do like 12 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
So good.
you never really went on the road.
No.
You
not a
hated the
lot.
road.
Yeah.
You stayed in the city.
And then I made a living doing like every Jewish country club
Right.
in the tri-state
Every
area.
Jewish
and then the
Ruth,
voiceovers.
Ruth,
Ruth Stern.
Ruth Stern.
Ruth
Stern.
Hyman?
No, Ruth Stern used to book all the country clubs.
clubs.
And every time, so Susie, when she was done with one, she would always say, you should hire Judy Gold. And she would call me up, and Susie would get big bucks.
Not big, not in those
No,
days.
well-
get like $300 or
Well,
something.
and then Susie would say, ask for this. And so I'd ask her for the same money as Susie, and she goes, well, I called the club and I mentioned your name, and they said, who?
Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
it's what she used to do all the
She was-
time.
you know
What
the
a
last
brat.
thing I ever said to her?
What?
Go fuck yourself before
Nice.
she died.
Good.
Last thing I ever
Do
said.
you
to
feel
her.
guilty?
No, not at
All
all.
right.
She
And
was
Paul,
a,
yeah.
a horrible human being.
I want you to say that to me before. I
Here
die.
we go, because you moved to. I remember you had the boyfriend, and you were across the street,
Right.
and I used to. The leopard who has to do 80 spots a night, and I used to go in between spots and
hang out at my apartment.
and sit with her.
That's
And your
cool.
dog.
That's cool.
And you'd be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing, Judy? It's you have to do 5 spots. You can't do 2."
Well,
Anyway.
but we used to do all these spots because that
Right.
was our living on the
right,
weekends.
you could not unless you went on the
We're making
road.
$50 a
You had to do
show.
8 spots,
Right,
Yeah.
and then $100 if you emceed.
Right.
So sometimes I just MC 3 shows a night at Catch. That
Right.
would be $300. That was my
right,
rent.
right.
Wow.
You know?
You guys were up more than any of the men.
Right.
Yeah.
No, the men did that too. The guys did that. The guys would run around doing spot.
Right. Spot. Yeah, they would. And then they would go on the road. Okay.
But
so,
here's the interesting thing. Ruth Stern, you bring that lovely lady up. She got me involved with the Friars Club.
I'm just getting to that.
Who, by the way,
I know,
will
I'm
have
gonna
nothing
say
to
that-
do with them anymore.
Really?
Yeah, because they named the club after Jerry Lewis, who
Right.
says no women are funny, and I think it's completely disrespectful to women.
Oh,
Well,
that sucks.
you do. I joined the Friars Club through her in '89. You were a member,
Maybe 88 or something. Yeah.
you were one of the first. Joy.
Well, they didn't have women until
No, yeah.
1985 or
Right.
6 or something.
And your career goes. You have. You're doing well. You're
Yeah.
making a living,
But just
people
a
know
living,
you,
not
right?
money.
You're not like. So. You break up with your boyfriend.
Yeah. Which boyfriend this was?
You had the long. What's his name? He was tall.
Oh, yeah.
The
okay.
Irish.
Yeah.
You're doing your thing. You're doing. You had a development deal, or you didn't?
No, I
never
never
had a development deal.
ever.
Every shiksa girl
Yeah.
and every guy had a development
Not us.
deal. I mean, like people who were just like.
Here's
Yeah.
the interesting thing about that, Judy. When you look at, I remember at that time, The Nanny was on.
Yes.
And it was extremely popular.
Right.
So you would think, because they never have an original idea, they think, okay, New York Jewish girl, really successful show. Let's find another one
Right,
to
right,
develop
right.
a show with. No, because they thought it was an aberration.
Right.
Right.
So
That's so frustrating.
And
yet they keep you guys, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but then they keep you for the character actors and the character roles and the bit roles.
Which is fine.
Which
is fine.
But they're usually the most memorable. I mean, to be honest, and it isn't fair. But
the sad part is, I mean, Susie's lucky. She's attractive. She's short. I mean, I do to this day. It's like, you know what? You're really
She's
funny.
a 6'3" lesbian.
Yeah. So,
but you're attractive and tall.
I know,
but
but
you're very attractive, Judy. I always hate that you say you're not because you've always been so pretty.
Oh, I love you. I mean, I'm just big. All right, so
you're large.
Fast forward, you.
I can't wait for the picture after the show.
You are. I don't know which one. You.
Okay.
Get into the Friars Club,
Okay.
and then you start doing these roasts.
Okay, but you do the roasts and you do all these kinds of benefits for them.
Right.
And you really have to make your bones because there's these old starkers there, your Alan Kings, and they don't think women are funny at all. And, you know, I was cute and pretty. They especially don't think you're funny.
Well, he actually was the one who told me to quit Rosie and that I was really funny and I should do stand-up. I think because I was so...
Well, no, he eventually thought I was funny.
Right.
I had to prove myself.
Right, you did, yeah.
So I had to do all these shows and prove myself, and a lot of them were horrible setups and venues, and which is, by the way, such an important thing, the venue and how it's set up and the mic and the lights.
And if you're going to them, then it's...
whatever.
If they hire you to come to them, they're the worst audience.
Exactly.
If they come to you, yeah.
So I make my bones with them, and because I did what I really believe, I just kept showing up and showing up and showing up and doing good work. So now comes 2000.
Right.
And they're doing the Jerry
By
Stiller.
the way, which is how Joy got the View. Showing up to some benefit.
Some Milton Berle benefit.
That, you
that
guys
Barbara
taught me
Walters
that,
were there.
yeah.
So they're doing the Friars Roast of Jerry Stiller on Comedy Central. Jean-Pierre Troubaud, lovely man who runs the Friars Club, puts my name in. He wants me to be on because I'm one of theirs. I did so much for them and blah. And I was funny.
Right.
Comedy Central rejects me.
Right.
Didn't want me. Too New York, too Jewish, too female, whatever.
Right.
I was not their demographic. They fought for me. Friars Clubs fought to have me on because I had done several roasts where I had done really well. And roasts are hard.
Horrible.
You have to prepare.
And there's nerve-wracking.
They're nerve-wracking. You have to prepare. You have to prepare really well. You have to have jokes, which I'm not jokey.
Right.
You know, it's not my style.
And you're throwing out jokes as someone else is doing your thing before you. Yeah.
All right, whatever. So they fought for me. Comedy Central finally said, okay, fine. I guess they figured they could cut me out.
Right.
I prepared really, really.
Larry.
I worked my ass off on that roast.
Right.
I then got laryngitis because I was so nervous. I completely lost my voice. Completely lost my voice. I remember that day I'm on the dais sitting next to Danny Aiello, who wouldn't shut up talking to me, and I'm opening my mouth, nothing is coming out. I was a wreck.
Psychological show.
It was. So, and it was televised.
Right.
I do my spot. Killed. And nobody did well except for Jeff Ross and me on that. It was a hard roast.
Yes.
And Larry David happens to see it and has this idea for this character of Jeff's wife in this new show that he's doing. Calls me up one day. I hadn't seen him in 10 years. He moved to L.A. I knew him from Catch a Rising Star.
Right.
Susie, hi, it's LD. It's like, oh, hi, Larry, what's up? What are you doing? I'm doing this new show. I got a part for you. You play Jeff Garland's wife. I want you to do it. I said, well, what's the part? Don't worry about it. You could do the part in your sleep. I said, well, send me the script. There's no script. There's no script. It's all improvised. How's that? What's the money? There's no money at all. You're going to have to fly yourself out, put yourself up. And I was like, look, Larry, I don't mind doing for no money. He had already been huge success on Seinfeld because I knew he was brilliant and I loved him. I said, but you're going to have to find something in the budget to fly. And this was already after he had made hundreds of millions in syndication.
Dollars, yeah.
I said, you're going to have to find some money to fly me out and put me up. Get a call a couple of days later from the casting director. Okay, they'll fly you out, coach, and they'll put you in some shithole.
Right.
And I did it. I made day scale. I made day scale for the first 3 seasons.
Right.
Which meant that I made about, depending on how many episodes I was in, maybe
$700-800 a day.
Six something.
Yeah.
So maybe first season I made maybe $2,500.
Right.
Second season about the same. Third season.
But you're starting to get stand-up gigs.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
Okay.
Because your profile goes up.
Right.
And you meet the love of your life.
Well, that was
Jimmy.
much later. No, that was 2003. So yeah.
And then you meet Jimmy, and your whole life
Changed. Right.
like that. And you know,
Because I became a mother of 4 teenagers.
right. But you also,
And you kept
I
showing up.
remember you also have always said, I'm the luckiest person. I mean, if Larry hadn't called me, God only knows.
Well, it's true. I don't. Joy says you would have gotten something else. I don't know if that's true.
Well, tell Joy,
Well,
Judy
yeah,
Gold.
Exactly. I have said that.
You have?
Yes.
And what does she say?
Well, you're right.
God, I want to kill myself.
But Judy, you've had an amazing career.
I
also.
have.
You still are.
Sometimes I just think, and I don't want to sound like sappy and Pollyanna, but I really think sometimes I've made this career just making people laugh.
Right.
I've done this for 33 years, just making people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
I know, and I've brought up kids. Like
You've raised your children. You're gonna eventually have put 2 kids through college,
Right.
and launch them on lives of their own, making people laugh.
and
it's
they're
a
gonna fucking
privilege.
take care of me
What
and wipe
time
my
is
ass.
it?
No, wait, it's 2:20.
Okay, I have time.
Okay, this is what I really can't wait. So then, you're all right. So you're popular. You're getting all these amazingly great stand-up gigs. You get a
Right.
great manager, agent. 2005, you do the roast for Donald Trump,
Oh yeah, which was not televised.
which was not televised.
Yeah. You want to know my opening line? It was a luncheon,
Right.
and then there was the roast.
Oh, yes.
And I said, Donald, I hear your hair ordered the salmon.
Right.
It's one of my favorite lines.
I know. It's so fun. I did a roast at the last minute. Jeff calls me because someone dropped out. It was literally 2 days before the Rob Reiner. I'm like, no. He's like, just do your material. Just do your material. And worst mistake I ever made. It was...
Yeah, I'll never do a roast again.
Right.
They're
But
horrible.
also, don't tell me 2 days before.
Right.
When...
Because it needs
you
work.
need right. But I did one roast in the club that wasn't televised.
Right.
For what's his name? Big Pussy. What the fuck?
Yeah. Big pussy. Yeah.
Which was so fun
Right.
because it's not
Well, it's
these
venue.
roasts now.
They shouldn't be Then I did that Bob Saget one, which was horrible, and I'll
Right.
never do another one.
But the
Even though I love
televised,
Saget.
yeah, I love him. But the televised roasts,
It's
are
not what
now,
it should be.
It's that's not what it
They're
is.
just
And people
mean.
used to. You look at the old ones. They knew everyone
Right,
knew each other. It was
right.
inside jokes. It was like when we were talking before. The comic can always say something to a
Right.
comic. It's ruined it.
And the other thing about the televised roast that I found, I remember when I did that Saget one. I remember it was so annoying to me that I was one of the only women there,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and all these male comics. The only jokes that they could make to women are either that you're old or that you have a smelly vagina.
Right.
And believe me, none of them have been near my vagina.
Right.
They don't know whether it smells or not.
right. So,
You
or
know?
I'm gonna fuck you with B. Arthur's dick.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's like this. It's all they could talk about.
Right.
And it's just like, really?
and
I have to
right.
sit here and listen to this,
this
demeaning shit.
It's
The
hacking.
Never
only
again.
the only man who's been inside of Judy is her son. I mean, it's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
like fucking
Vincent Pastore.
Vinny Pastore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now
big
that
pussy.
we are in this awful situation in the United States of America, where a demagogue, narcissist, I mean, this guy, and yet it's all marketing. When you think about his, "Make America Great," you don't remember anyone else's little line except
that's what
for
he
his.
does. That's
right.
what he does.
So here you are. What was he like when you were,
He was surprisingly gracious.
Right.
I have to say, I didn't like him, but he was surprisingly gracious, and I didn't think, because he had that whole thing with Rosie, that whole
God.
and very sensitive if you say anything negative about him. But I think he got what a roast was,
Right.
And he got that he needed to laugh and be gracious. I was surprised at how gracious he was,
Right.
But then he wasn't running for president. Then
Right,
he was
right,
just this
right.
guy we were roasting. It was
Right.
who had The Apprentice, or
Right.
I've never seen the show. I don't know it.
So you do the Curb for how many seasons?
8 seasons.
8 seasons. And you start to make a
Right.
really good living.
Right.
And you are there.
But you
I
have to
say-
realize, Judy, it took the first 5 seasons
Right.
of Curb combined. I made less than $100,000.
Right.
So I was not
But
making
you're-
that living until the last 3 seasons.
Right. But you were I mean,
but I was
the
making
exposure,
living,
right?
Exactly.
You were
Stand
getting
up.
the exposure you deserved.
Right.
Yes.
You are so smart with money, and you start getting an apartment.
Right. Bought an apartment.
You buy an apartment, you fix it up,
Sold it.
move.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And you've done that several times.
Yeah.
Your husband, who is I'm just going to say a little bit about Jim.
Judy has a crush on him.
He's so handsome. He's so charming. He's smart. I don't know. The guy is.
He's real.
He's a real.
He's authentic.
And
You deserve
and
that.
the fact that he's with one of the strongest women I know.
well, he's not insecure. You can't be
right.
with an
He's
insecure
just
guy.
and he's just like when he talks to you, like he's talking to you.
Yeah,
like
that's nice.
and you think when he says how are you, think he really gives a shit how you are. I mean,
He
he's
does. He doesn't have a phony bone in
He
his
is.
body.
And the fact that he had these 4 kids that he was raising, I mean, he's lucky too. Look at what you did with those kids. But all of this, when you think about it, your life is sort of a fairy tale at this point.
I don't know about a fairy tale, but it's good.
It's good. And
It's
yet,
good.
there's still, which, I got to work. You're always.
Well, I still don't have the money. I can't retire.
Right.
I mean, we know all these people that made so much money. Not that I'd want to retire.
Right. But
You know-
you don't ever want to have to work.
But I still have financial worries that I wish that I didn't have.
Okay, why don't you come and look at my bank account?
Kids are expensive. Raising kids is
Can
expensive.
I tell you how much money I would have if I didn't have
A
children?
lot. But then you wouldn't have children.
But then I would be a
So what's the
miserable. And then,
Judy accidentally got pregnant.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
But before you had children,
yeah.
you had no desire to have children.
None.
I mean, you
None
were such a
whatsoever.
just my pets and
Yeah,
And
none.
then your transformation from non-mother to I mean, you then became
I became total
that
mother.
woman.
I know. I became soccer mom.
Right.
Cool.
And I was like, what happened to Miss? I hate kids. I hate
No,
kids.
I never said I hated
Well,
kids.
you were like, I don't want it. I want my
I
life.
didn't want them. And you know what? It all worked out because little kids,
Right.
I don't know if I could have dealt with. If he had little kids, they were 10. When I first met Jimmy, they were 10, 12, 14, 15.
Not good ages.
Not good ages. Those teen years.
That's
those
rough.
and 3 girls. To have 3 teenage girls living in a house, it was really,
Right.
really hard. But now, it's what's so nice is now they're all grown up. They're all out of the
they're
house.
so beautiful.
We have empty nest. I have good relationships with them.
Did they? Was there a resistance to you initially?
I feel like you'd be the
No,
coolest stepmom.
there wasn't a
though.
resistance.
No,
to me.
but you know what? She's very.
I'm very strict.
strict.
There was not a resistance to me in the sense that there might have been. I never felt it because I knew what it was like to have your mother be competitive with you. So I made really sure that I never did that to them.
Because I know from being a parent that you never went through that. This one hates me and won't talk. I mean, I've so
yes,
many.
I have. Yes, I have.
Not to the extent where it goes on for years. I mean, I've had
No,
friends.
but I've had it. I've gone through bad times
Right.
with them. But here's the gratifying thing that 2 of my girls recently, individually, said to me, because I was very strict with them because they were in a very chaotic situation. I realized that they need boundaries. I looked at
Absolutely.
them
Right.
and I saw myself and how I grew up, and I just felt like they need boundaries, they need consistency, they need, and I didn't enjoy being that person, but I knew that's what they needed.
Right.
And 2 of them said to me recently, "You were right all along."
And that's what you live for,
I
right?
hope my kids don't. All right.
That's what
You're
you
a
live
great mother,
for.
Jude.
You're an incredible
thank
mom.
You are. You're a loving, involved, caring mother.
love
You
them.
see them for who they are.
Yeah.
You accept them for who they are. You let them be who they are.
And
Right.
you are honest about who you are with them.
Right.
That's huge.
Oh. So here you are now. You've got a house,
Yeah.
beautiful, that I haven't been to. I
You're
really want. Can
invited.
I come up?
Of course.
Can I sleep over?
Of course, we have a guest house.
All right.
You have your own bathroom.
Oh, perfect. You have a husband. You have
Yeah.
4 kids.
Yeah.
You have a little place here. Pied à
Pied à terre.
You're still tiny.
You're
Fatter than I used to
beautiful.
be.
You look amazing.
Ridiculous.
All right, I'm coming on this show every week.
You should.
What else is there? Besides,
I'll tell you.
Besides not
I'll tell
having
you what
to
I'm
worry about
struggling.
money.
I'll tell you what I'm struggling
Yeah.
with right now. I'm 60.
Get the
And
fuck
It's
out.
unfucking believable.
I'm 60, and I feel like,
would-
okay, what am I going to do for the next 35 years of my life?
Right.
Because people live in my family.
Right.
So it's not it's just something on my mind right now. What am I going to do for the next 30 years of my life? I still want to be challenged creatively. I still want to do interesting, fun things. I'm not playing shuffleboard.
Right.
I'm not moving a boca.
That's what
You know, so
You're not aging yourself.
And you're
now-
not in love with doing stand-up.
I'm not in love with doing stand up anymore. I still get some gratification from doing it when I do it. So I'm in a struggle right now creatively that I've been working on. I went back to my old therapist.
I know.
to talk to her about
You've
it.
helped me a lot with that.
and to
yeah.
see, so that's my struggle right now. It's a good place to be. These are high class problems to have. Like,
Right.
they're good problems, but I kind of feel like, there's this idea that you retire or you grow old or something, but no, you have to be creatively
please.
viable.
That's a choice.
But I know so many people that are older and creative and interesting and. So I'm taking this writing workshop now. I just got a ukulele that I'm going to teach myself
that's
how to play.
awesome!
I just I want to figure out what I want to do. I still have to do things to make money. But, I can't just sit around and wait for somebody to give me a part.
Oh,
You should
no.
teach a class.
I teach.
at ESPA or
You
something.
would.
I don't know
Jesus.
if I want to teach.
No, it's the most gratifying
Really?
thing.
If you ever wanted to try
I
it.
shit in my pants before. I can't tell you how amazing it is. Just do.
That's how I
I'll
met-
hook you up, and just do a master class,
Okay.
and then you'll fucking
I'd
so
take that.
fall in love with teaching. And you'll come once a week. You'll go to your and you meet. I'm telling you, it's so gratifying. What we ask everyone this.
I also think that one of the things that women, this is a very well kept secret, that post menopause, once you get over whatever bullshit you have, flashes, whatever, that it's really a really good time in your life because you reach this point where you're not, it's like I used to cry every fucking day. I used to be so emotional.
I know, and
My
you used to
hormones
tell
were
me to
so
go cry.
wacky.
Yeah.
My hormones were so, it's not there anymore.
Right.
It's just, you get into this kind of latency period, which is very comfortable and very easy.
Well, you're no longer a baby machine. You're no longer a sex. You're just like
You're
a human
still
being,
a sex
Right.
and you were
object,
never,
right?
and your dick
You're- my
never
husband.
was
That's what I mean.
your. Your
right.
dick wasn't
It's
your
a
power
nice
play.
period. This I'm
Right.
looking forward to the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Right.
90s not so much.
No. What pisses you off? I'm going to tell you something that happened to me last night, which was one of the
And
biggest.
then we have to wrap.
I know. Well, I have to ask you the last two questions.
Okay, what pisses me
First
off?
of all, last night I was on stage. I swear to God, I've never done this. There was a girl in the front row. The seat next to her was empty. Someone was in the bathroom. And she's drinking a beer. And the way her sweater was, I asked her if she was pregnant, and she wasn't.
Yeah,
And I've never done that.
I've done it.
I can't, like, I was on stage
You
the
were
whole
mortified.
time.
You were mortified.
You are a
and
dude.
I know.
And I kept saying, and every time I did something, I'm not thinking about this. That,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not,
yeah.
if whatever you think of me,
Yeah.
it's worse in
Yeah,
here. We're
yeah.
going, you fucking
Yeah.
idiot, you fuck.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad.
Yeah, no, one night, years and years ago, I'm on stage at Catch a Rising Star, and this guy has his back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just laced into him, the rudeness. Turns out he was blind.
Oh,
Then all of a
had
sudden I
that.
noticed a dog sitting on the
Yeah,
floor.
I had one
and
with
then
the
it's like, all right,
glasses and the
fuck
cane.
me.
Right.
Now you got to get them back because now I'm the bad guy.
Right.
So the only way to do it is to turn yourself in. You have
right.
to turn yourself in.
What
But
pisses you off?
me
Like, I get really pissed off about things, incompetence.
Incompetence, bad customer service.
Customer service.
boy.
We want to do a whole show on
Oh,
customer,
customer service. But what really pisses me off is rudeness.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm that old fucking lady.
Right.
Rudeness, obliviousness. You're out in the world and people are oblivious. I'm at a restaurant the other, Jimmy and I were at a restaurant in the
Right.
city, and there's this youngish woman, probably in her early 20s.
Oh, the
And
worst.
she's talking to an older woman, might have been her mother, might have been an aunt. She's talking so loud
right.
What is
with
that?
no concept that there are other
people, yeah.
around her who are trying to enjoy. You know, when I'm talking like this and having
Right.
a conversation with my husband, because I don't want anybody to hear me.
Right.
But that obliviousness pisses me off. Get the fuck out of my way.
Right.
Know that there are other people. Have thoughtful consideration for other people.
Right.
And if you're that loud talker's friend, tell them
Say
to
something.
shush.
Shut the fuck up.
Have a code word. I
That
have code
annoys
words
me.
with my loud friends. I say, put your mittens on.
What do you think of the new wave of female comics? Because I'm reading Outliers, and I feel like, you know, we were born at a certain time, and we sort of paved this way.
Yes.
And now this new sort of feminism where being a feminist means I can do exactly what guys do. When
Right.
it's like, I don't want to be a guy.
Right. But you know,
I'm happy for theirs. I am so
But Judy,
happy.
we were doing all this shit before they
Right.
were born.
Right.
You know what I mean? Look, you know what? There's a zeitgeist out there, and everybody is of their time and place.
Right.
And I can't be bitter that it wasn't my time and place when I was doing it.
Right.
It just
No.
wasn't.
But it was your time and place.
Yeah, but it wasn't in the same kind of a
Right.
way.
Well, you guys are going to be considered legends forever, for long after you're gone. I mean, forever. You two are legends.
Well,
and I
let's
think a lot
hope
of the younger,
it's appreciated.
Yes.
You know what? I meet a lot of the younger female comedians and male comedians, and there is a respect and a reverence for you guys.
Well, you know, you said something interesting, Hennessy. The younger male comedians are much more respectful than the
unbelievable.
guys our age.
Right.
And that's a generational thing
Right.
also.
Yeah,
Y-
that's
you know?
I
true.
so
That's true.
get that.
And I think they're more respectful to their female peers because they saw really funny women like
Right.
us.
Exactly.
When they were little kids.
and never thought, oh, women can't be funny,
Right.
like the guys that we grew up with.
Right.
And the lineups are including more and more women.
It's great.
And
It's
it's
great.
because of you guys. And I think the younger generation, a lot of them at least, the ones I surround myself with, do know that. And
It
do
is nice to
appreciate
be.
what you've
I
done.
just did a club in Bloomington, Indiana, called the Comedy Attic, where if you ever want to work out material, I was scared. It's right on the campus of IU. The guy is such a purist. He won't even sell real alcohol. He only sells beer and wine.
Right.
And the audiences are amazing. And when I called him, and all my promos in the newspaper were like, special event. I'm like,
Right.
what?
No, you are a
know,
special event.
legendary, blah, blah. And I called him when I got to town to say, hi, I'm here, and what time should I be at the club? He's like, I can't believe I'm talking to you. You're one of the reasons that I love stand-up.
Ditto.
And so he made a club it is literally one of the best clubs I've ever worked
He's
at.
a true fan. He's a true
but he's a
comedy.
Comic fan.
He's a connoisseur.
But you
Okay.
know, can I just say one other thing? There's still such a long way to go.
Oh, please.
I mean,
Yes.
Samantha Bee, God bless her. I think she's
And she's
fantastic.
fantastic.
She's fantastic. She's smart. She's funny.
Yes.
But the only woman in
Right.
late night. I mean,
Right.
there's still a really long way to go. You know, Broad City, of which I'm a recurring
Yeah.
character. I love these girls.
I
They're
love them.
fantastic.
Yes.
They're funny. They're
Yeah.
out there. They're real. They're
amazing.
authentic. But again, they're not. They still don't get the same kind of accolades as
Right.
some of these other guys do. So there's still a long way to go, and the fight is still happening.
I want you to come back because I really want to talk about social media and how that's changed our lives. And I just love you from the bottom of
And
my
can
heart.
we talk more about Hennessy's?
Yes, and we'll do a whole thing.
issue.
We'll bring someone else. We'll bring another person. All right.
All right, but I gotta go.
I know.
And I love you.
I love you, but you have to answer our final question.
What?
Are you on? Do you take any antidepressants?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I can't
We got to do this poll.
It's unbelievable. In the beginning, everyone was like, "All right, I did. Now I don't." It's unbelievable how many people don't now.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
on
drink.
so many. Yes, I know. We like it.
Didn't we have another question that we incorporated?
Oh, do you have any tattoos?
no.
All right.
You know the tattoos.
I know. I can't. I can't.
And my girls all have them, and that's Juliana, 2 out of
Right.
and it's just like it's permanent.
Right. And it's all over your fucking Susan, I love
you.
you
You're
so
so
much.
cute.
Thank you so
Hennessy.
much
I
for
have such a
being
big crush
on.
you.
This is a very special episode of Kill Me Now. Thank you all for listening. Susie Essman, my favorite. You can see she's on Twitter at Susie Essman, but she doesn't. She never tweets. I love you. Thank you. One of my heroes, ladies and gentlemen, Susie Essman. Thank you for listening. My name's Judy Gold, at Judy Gold, Jewdy.
Boom.
This is Hennessy. We love you. Thank you for listening. So long!
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.